Before we go deeper into what I am about to show you, allow me to ask you for one thing. For the next few minutes, give yourself fully to this process. Not just to hear the words, not merely to understand the idea, but to allow yourself to sink into a space where they can touch something within you. Because what you are about to hear is not a collection of ideas, not a theory, not another beautiful phrase about how to change your life. No, it is a mechanism that works always, regardless of whether you believe in it or not, whether you understand it or simply live on autopilot. And when you see it directly, when you notice how it reveals itself in your own life, you will feel a turning point. A moment when something in your inner structure shifts, as if a hidden lever were pulled, setting a new trajectory in motion. So let go of everything that might distract you. The rush, thoughts about tasks, inner dialogues. Set it aside, at least for a moment. Right now, you need to be fully present. Not halfway, not with one ear, but with your complete attention, as if what is happening were the most important thing you've experienced in a long time. Because perhaps it is. Let's begin with memory. Recall a moment in your life, recent or long ago, when you passionately wanted something, so intensely that it nearly became an obsession. It could have been a person you were trying to draw into your life, a job you desperately wanted, or an opportunity you clung to with all your focus. Perhaps you spent days and nights thinking about how to make it happen, what else you could do, how to push reality into giving you what you desired. But no matter how hard you tried, no matter how much pressure you applied with your thoughts and longing, nothing moved. As if you were pushing a door that opens in the opposite direction. Now recall the opposite kind of moment. Remember something that entered your life unexpectedly, easily, as if on its own. You may not have even thought about it seriously. Perhaps it didn't matter that much to you. And suddenly, it happened, like a gift you did not expect to receive, even though somewhere inside it matched your desires or your needs. It could have been a meeting that later changed everything, an opportunity that appeared out of nowhere, a solution to a problem that had seemed frozen. And you probably wondered, why did this come so easily, when other things could not be attracted no matter how hard you tried? This is where an important principle is hidden. What we pursue with anxiety and tension tends to slip away, and what we relate to calmly, without fear of losing, often comes on its own. This is not coincidence. It is not luck. It is not a whim of the universe. It is the reflection of a very subtle, yet incredibly powerful process. And so that you can use it consciously, I will first explain why it works this way. Because when you understand the nature of the mechanism, it becomes much easier to apply it intentionally. And then the things you need will stop feeling unreachable. They will stop feeling like a struggle. They will begin to enter your life softly, naturally, as if they had always been on their way to you, and you were simply preventing them from coming closer. But before we move on, it is important to say one key thing. Reality is not something external that hangs over you, decides for you, gives or withholds. Reality is a mirror. It responds to your inner state, to who you believe yourself to be, to the vibration, the quality of consciousness in which you spend most of your time. This is not punishment or reward. It is direct reflection. Now recall a moment when you let a situation go, when you stopped clinging to it with your thoughts, stopped waiting, stopped counting. Not because you gave up, but because you were tired or shifted your attention or realized you could no longer control it so tightly. And exactly then, suddenly, things began to move, as if reality had been standing nearby all along, waiting for you to make space. This is not magic. It is a natural consequence of your inner state. Assumption is not a request. not an attempt, not a fantasy. It is inner knowing. It is the state of a person who already possesses what they desire, and therefore does not need confirmation, does not check, does not wait for signs, does not seek proof. It already exists inside at the level of perception. And that is why the absence of action, interference, constant monitoring is often the key. Because the moment you assume that what you desire has already been fulfilled, you no longer need to control it, rush it, or hold on to it. You no longer create inner resistance. And resistance is the only thing that prevents what you desire from manifesting. You have probably noticed this strange effect. Things you barely think about, things you're not emotionally dependent on, come much more easily. Why? Because with them, you do not create inner attachment. You do not try to speed things up. You do not look for confirmation. You do not live in a state of waiting. And therefore, you do not block the natural flow. That is why you need a method that truly changes your inner state rather than trying to imitate it. And now we come to the first stage. Step 1, stop chasing. Whether you realize it or not, for a long time you have been living in the mode of, I need this to happen. This mode is tension. It is constant mental scanning for proof. It is waiting. It is doubt. And this is precisely the state from which it is impossible to receive what you desire, because it locks you into the point of absence. But imagine, just for a moment, that what you want has already happened. How would you feel? You would feel calm, confident, relaxed. You would not be asking when. You would not be suffering from waiting. You would move through life with inner knowing. And this state, the state of a person who already has it, is exactly the vibration that attracts what is desired without effort. So right now, stop looking for confirmation. Stop waiting. Stop mentally pulling the event toward you. Stop asking the question when. Begin from the assumption that it is already within your field, already on its way, already exists in your version of reality. This is not fantasy. It is a way of retuning your inner field. Step 2, how to remain in the state of I already have. This is the most challenging part. At first, yes, you may feel confidence. You may sense that a new inner position has appeared, that you have stepped into the right state. But then time passes. A few hours go by, then a day, then 2, and the silence begins to feel suspicious. And inside, a quiet voice appears. So where is it? This moment is pivotal, because this is where most people destroy everything. The instant you begin searching for signs again, the moment you start doubting, the moment you return to monitoring reality, you exit the state of I have and return to the state of I don't have. You reactivate the old vibrational mechanism. So what do? Learn to be at peace with not knowing when or how it will manifest. You are not required to know. It is not your task to control timing. If you were living as the version of yourself who already has it, you would not be asking which day it will arrive. You would simply continue living your life. Remaining in the state does not mean holding an emotion. It means holding a position of consciousness, a position in which you stop interfering. You stop controlling. You stop trying to accelerate things. You allow reality to unfold on its own. You do not force the door. You allow it to open. When doubt appears, do not fight it. Simply notice it and return to knowing. Remember, doubt is not an enemy. It is merely a habit, and habits change through practice. Read these words once more slowly. Let them sink deeper than the mind, because this is exactly where the real inner shift occurs. Many people can briefly imagine that what they desire has already happened, but they cannot release their attachment to time. They cling to deadlines, to calendars, to the question when, And this is precisely what keeps them locked in the old frequency. They are afraid to give life the right to choose the path and the moment. But if you can take this step, if you learn to trust so deeply that you stop controlling the pace of events, you will become free. You will gain an inner strength that cannot be shaken. Because the moment dependence on time disappears, you are effectively proving to your reality that what you want is already present in your life. And when you're no longer chasing, no longer searching for signs, no longer waiting for confirmation, when inner calm settles in, what you desire cannot remain at a distance. It is compelled to enter your lifeline because you stop holding it away. So from this moment on, whenever doubt appears, whenever inner anxiety tries to reclaim its power, do nothing. Allow doubt to pass through you without reacting. Let it rise and dissolve like an air bubble that surfaces and disappears. Because every time you are able to remain still, without interference, without control, without trying to accelerate, you enter the vibration of natural receiving. You become a magnet that no longer needs to pull. And that is when everything begins to turn toward you on its own. Now it is time to speak about the final part, the concluding step that will anchor these changes permanently and turn them into your new state. Stay here. We are very close to the essence. Step 3, integration and allowing. By this point, you have already done 2 essential things. First, you stop chasing what you desire. You no longer live from tension, from searching, from waiting for confirmation. Second, you learn to remain in this state. You sat beside uncertainty without allowing it to destroy your inner foundation. You have been holding yourself in the energy of a person who already possesses what they are striving for. Now the third step begins. This is the stage where everything finally falls into place. It consists of allowing the process to complete itself naturally. And here is the main secret. You must learn to accept the silence that appears before manifestation. Most people fail precisely here, because when they stop chasing and enter a calmer state, they begin to expect immediate results. They think, I did everything right, so something must happen now. But this very thought pushes the result away. It returns a person to the mode of waiting, and with it, to the mode of absence. So at this third step, your task is very simple. Live your life. Maintain a calm inner state. Let go of nervousness. Stop demanding immediate returns. Because if you can hold this energy, if you can remain in calm without trying to change the moment, then everything that belongs to you by inner state will inevitably enter your life. And it will arrive so gently and so naturally that you'll be surprised at how easily it happened. It will manifest in a way even better than you could have imagined, because you allowed reality to choose the perfect form on its own. So from this moment on, if impatience starts pulling you backward, if doubt stirs again, once more, do nothing. Not because the result no longer matters to you, but because you know inwardly everything is already resolved. You stop being the person who waits. You become the one who knows. And this is where the most beautiful part begins. You will never chase again, because everything you want will begin unfolding toward you on its own. This is the law. This is vibrational alignment. Manifestation is not about doing more. It is about allowing. The moment you stop controlling, stop demanding signs, stop waiting, everything begins to align. You do not need to push the flow. You do not need to beg reality for confirmation. You do not need to guess how or through whom it will come. And now you stand before 2 paths. You can sink back into anxiety, waiting, doubt, constant monitoring of progress, where you can do the one thing that changes everything. Nothing. And this nothing is not passivity. It is not giving up on your desires. It is not indifference. It is the highest form of participation, because you are no longer participating in struggle. You are participating in harmony. At this stage, you have already stopped striving. You have released expectations. You have entered the energy of a person who already has what they desire. This is transformation. But now an even more important stage arrives. The realization that true power lies in stillness. Stillness is not inactivity. It is not apathy. It is not coldness. Stillness is a state in which you are connected to the very center of life energy. It is active inner clarity. It is the moment when you stop trying to push the river and instead become part of its current. It is the point where your inner field aligns with what you desire. Stillness is the space where everything already exists, where every form, every event exists as a potential wave waiting for your consent. And when you remain in this state, without trying to interfere, without analyzing every detail, reality begins arranging itself around you, as if a finished script had long been waiting behind the scenes. Remember, in silence, we hear more. In stillness, we feel deeper. In calm, we enter resonance with the source, and the source already knows the way. It knows the order in which events must unfold. It knows through whom the right people will come to you. It knows which turns will lead you to the result you need. You do not need to figure this out. Your task is not to interfere. When you enter this state, you begin to notice how your space changes on its own. Meetings happen spontaneously, yet perfectly. Solutions arrive at exactly the right moment. Coincidences become patterns. What once required effort now happens without struggle. Everything you need is already moving toward you. Quietly, gently, precisely. And if right now you allow yourself to pause inwardly, to loosen your grip, to stop pressing on the moment, you will feel this space. It is quiet. It does not require words. It does not need explanations. But power lives within it. From this moment on, you no longer act from anxiety. You no longer try to extract confirmation. You do not check or compare. You know, and where there is knowing, there is silence. And this silence is your new point of stability. Remain in this state, not for an hour, not for a day, but as a new lifeline. Because it is here that you stop constructing reality through effort. Instead, you enter resonance with a version of yourself in which everything has already been fulfilled. And then everything you need finds its way to you on its own. This is the secret. It has always been right in front of you.